Why they be hating on Drake like this? That's what I don't understand.
He red. He light skin.
That's true.
You know,
That's
he light skin. We've been doing that. That's history. That's just American history, man. That's American history.
Now, you guys hear that? How nonchalant Lil Wayne was explaining, oh, yeah, you know, they hate on Drake because he's light skinned. That's just American history. That's his explanation for the whole treatment of people who are similar of Drake's hue, saying that, well, that's just American history. And I said in one of my shorts, you know what's also American history? For people to treat people based on the color of their skin a certain kind of way, right? So people of Lil Wayne's hue or darker or even lighter, a lot of people who are not of color, if we can use that in this context, would treat certain people a certain way for their color of their skin. So I just find it interesting how it seems to be in Lil Wayne's little mind. It seems to be like, and that's another funny clue right there. He calls himself Little, right? Lil Wayne is a grown man, older than me, you know, calling himself Little, right? And for him, in his little mind, he thinks it's socially acceptable. He's laughing about it. Oh, that's just American history. We treat people, you know, who are light skinned like crap in his community, right? But then, of course, people in his community will whine and cry for the next 400 years about how another group of people treats them, right? And if that other group of people, right, if they were to say, well, that's just the way it is down here, this is just American history, then Lil Wayne will have an issue with that. Lil Wayne and a lot of people in his community, they're going to want to take down, you know, Confederate monument statues, right? I mean, this is what we're seeing. I'm just trying to point out the hypocrisy and how despicable it is for him to kind of giggle and laugh and be like, that's just the way it is. You know, we treat light-skinned people bad down here. Now, let me correct myself because I'm going to get into this. Not people. You hear this rapper, Lil Wayne, talking about light-skinned men. He's going to say dudes. Very significant. We're going to, you know, talk about this in a gendered way because this is basically a dark-skinned guy, which is very common in their community, to hate on lighter-skinned guys out of jealousy. And they mate guard the lighter-skinned guys because they want the lighter-skinned women. And there was a mulatto woman who I spoke to earlier today was telling me how that's all of Lil Wayne's songs, not all, but a lot of his music. I don't listen to Lil Wayne. I remember when he first popped up on the scene like 20 years ago. Okay, guys, because I was like barely in high school when I first heard of this cat and I never liked his music. I can proudly say that. Just the Lil Wayne rap is just ignorant. It's just ignorant, stupid, foolish rap. You're going to lose IQ points listening to that stuff. So I've never been a fan of this guy. But the lady was telling me how his songs, he talks about light-skinned women and stuff like that, which is, it's common in hip hop. These songs, you look at the music videos, they all glamorize and glorify lighter skinned women, but they try to G-check and hate on the light-skinned men. And it rarely ever gets called out. A lot of these guys, they're kind of cucked, if I can say that, in the community. So let me continue on with this clip and provide more commentary.
How I know is because I'm not light-skinned. I hated on all light-skinned dudes in school. So, yeah.
So that right there, he was pointing out the fact that he's not light-skinned. He hated on light-skinned dudes in school. Very important. That definitely caught my attention. He didn't say people. I had to correct myself earlier, right? Because he said dudes specifically. He hated on light-skinned dudes in school. He's talking about, I guess, grammar or high school. I'm surprised he actually graduated high school. The other guy, Kanye, with his album, is it called College Dropout? But yeah, I'm surprised Lil Wayne was up in high school, whatever, or graduated. But he said, yeah, in high school or in school, he hated on light-skinned dudes, not people. Okay, this is very significant for the men, for the male audience members who listen to me. Because, and a lot of you guys know this, I just feel sorry for those of you guys who are stuck in that shithole community. And, you know, you don't figure this stuff out until later on in life where you're kind of already positioned and settled to just accept your lot in life, dealing with the scraps. Because for me, it's a completely different circumstance. I've never been struggling in that position. And I'm not trying to rub it in anyone's face. I'm just pointing out the obvious. People could say what they want about me, that I'm mean or this or that. But it's like, look, I'm not going to accept a shitty deal. And I started to analyze this information on the internet, looking into these social media circles and black spaces per se. And I'm like, don't you guys see what the deal is? Like when they talk about all this mulatto conspiracy crap, talking about the mulatto side with the whites and all this stuff, these black supremacists are talking about the men. They're always, whenever they talk about biracials, mulattoes, the black men talk about us, they're talking about hating on us. The mulatto, the biracial men, as Drake, he is a mulatto man. They hate on us because they're trying to mate guard us, because they want the women. And they also want proximity to whiteness. They want to be more socially acceptable in white society. And they're envious and jealous of us because we have that. Okay. But the main thing is they want to mate guard us from the women. So they have to basically, in a way, devalue us and try to tarnish our social market value and our sexual marketplace value. So this stuff happens at an early age, right? Lil Wayne's talking about high school. The high school I went to, it was not majority black. Okay. Nowhere I've attended was majority black unless I, purposely positioned and put myself in that environment. But nowhere in school, elementary, high school, or college, university level, it was never majority black. But at the university level, I did attend, I did go to some like spaces like an African Student Union. They have like black clubs, right, on campus. And that's when I first got my first kind of peek at the psyche of a lot of these tragic Negroes. I remember seeing a dark-skinned guy who was in that group, the African Student Union, who's never like friendly with me. Like he never smiled or introduced himself when other dudes did. And this guy, I could tell there was something about him. Like there was some envy or jealousy. I knew there was something about this guy. Like he had a chip on his shoulder. But then it's funny, like the next day I went to the same place, I saw him sitting next to the mulatto woman. And as soon as I came up in there and sat down, I could tell he was bothered by my presence. And he like got up and kind of walked away or walked somewhere else. That was like my first cue at how a lot of these people act. Like they're jealous and envious of us, and they want to mate guard us to get the women because their preference is the mulatto women. So I experienced that, but later on in my life, okay, in the university level, like I said, I didn't grow up. I wasn't enculturated in high school and all this crap where they're trying to like hate on me and slander me and stuff like that. But just want to provide some context there.
That is American history, man. Shout out to y'all, man.
Dude is saying it's just American history. Just American history. It ain't no problem. Ain't no big deal. Ha 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 ha, right? But when it's the other way around, when people are hating your black behind just because you're black, just because your skin tone, all of a sudden you want to whine and cry. You want to beg for reparations. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy, guys, okay? Two wrongs don't make a right. And because if they've been done bad in the past, etc., today, a lot of them, they feel like they're justified now with their anti-biracial racism, their jealousy of light-skinned people. And a lot of you biracials, a lot of you light-skins, you don't call it out. You still deal with them, even though they're not paying you or dancing for you. And that's very unfortunate. But I definitely wanted to highlight this. I saw this clip. It was actually a Dominican lady, shared this with me today. So I'm doing this right now. And I was like, oh, thanks for sharing it. Because I don't really keep up on the hip hop stuff. I listen to some hip hop. I like Drake. I listen to Drake, but Lil Wayne, no. But I listen to a lot of different music, pretty eclectic in my musical selection. But shout out to the lady who shared this with me. And just you see that, like I said, the double standards, the hypocrisy, and how is this socially acceptable for this Lil Wayne guy to jump up there and smile like, oh, it ain't no thing. It's American history, right? They're like, and you light-skinned dudes, you see this. And a lot of you light-skins, man, you guys, you allow these dark-skins to punk you. It's sad. And I can't associate with weak men who allow themselves to get punked by other groups of men. I'm not a fan of that. I can't associate with you. And so I'm going to let that be known right now. But just in closing, before I finish this, I wanted to bring up, I remember like one of my jiu-jitsu partners, I talked about this on a stream before. I was a white dude. We're still friends. He's a good friend of mine. He's a higher in the ranking system of jiu-jitsu. I think he's a brown belt or probably a black belt right now. And this cat, I remember one day we were just talking because he's a fan of hip hop. And we were talking about Drake, and this guy looked at me and asked me, he was like, man, why do people hate on Drake so much? And this was several years ago. This was like 2015. And immediately I replied to him and I was like, look, they're just jealous of him. Okay. People are just jealous of Drake. You wonder why he gets hate because he doesn't seem like the guy that like picks fights or like picks enemies or picks on people. He doesn't seem like a bully. He doesn't seem like a shit starter. He seems like he's just a normal dude that likes to drink and party and have a good time and just lounge. He looks like one of them type of cats, right? But he gets a lot of hate. And when my jiu-jitsu training partner asked me, why does Drake get so much hate? And I immediately said, look, it's because he's a good-looking guy. People are jealous of him. They're jealous of him because he's a handsome-looking guy. Period. No homo, pause, right? It's straight facts. I mean, this is what I've known this from the beginning. Because how can you hate a dude like that who is like, what's there to hate? And I remember seeing a clip of even DMX was like, oh, I just don't like Drake. I don't like his face. I don't like how he looks. And it's like, he's another dark skinned guy. Isn't that his name? DMX, which is dark man unknown, X for unknown. So this is very common in their community.
What about Drake? You like Drake?
No.
My man. Why don't you like Drake?
I don't like anything about Drake. Mm-hmm. I don't like his voice. I don't like what he talks about. I don't.
See, I be trying to tell these face.
I don't like the way he walks. Like nothing. I don't like his haircut. I might just let me shut up.
My position here is to provide some clarity for the audience, to let these mulattoes know you have a place. Stop getting fucking punked. Okay. And if we see stories like this or any type of information, share it. Share it with the public. Let them know that you're here. Your voice is here. You're going to be validated and your opinion matters. That's it, guys. Talk to you next time. Sayonara.